Hello everybody out there in YouTube land. So this will be preparation video number 4. Sweet day. We are going to be pulling the boat out of Terry's here. And that'll be the end of the sailing season on Lake Mille Lacs for the year. So it's bittersweet. This was the first sailing season I had out here without my dad. My dad was the one who motivated me to get into sailing. I never would have got into sailing without him. Before he died, that was what he wanted to do. He said, I want a sailboat and I want to go sailing. And we ended up getting this boat and we got it home. And I don't know if I followed along before, but the exhaust flapper there was messed up. It wasn't a flapper. It was one that had a rubber thing, and the transom was actually soft around it. You could push in, and then on the rudder there were spots that were soft. So what I ended up having to do is redo the whole transom there, and pretty much all the deck hardware. We took everything off and rebedded it. We redid the windows and made everything waterproof, and it was one of those COVID happened, and because of that I was able to just take the whole summer and repair this boat, which I probably wouldn't have had time to do, and my dad would have been like, we want it in now, but because of COVID we didn't put it up here because we were worried about people and getting COVID, which sadly in the end, when my dad passed, COVID didn't kill him, but it did shorten his life. We went from he's coming home from the rehab place to he's coming home, and he was never the same. He had a stroke and just mentally was no longer there, which was sad. So in the end, COVID did kind of get him. But in the beginning, we were freaking out because we didn't know what it was. We were doing the mail in another room for 3 days. I went to the grocery store with a full-on military Israeli gas mask, which was kind of funny because that was the time, if everybody remembers, where you had to go down one way at the grocery store and they had arrows. And some guy came in and he was all freaking out like, I can do whatever I want, I don't need a mask, whatever, making a scene. And he came over and he came to come down my aisle, and because I had a full-on Israeli gas mask on, he just looked at me and went, oh, and went to the next aisle. I didn't say anything, but in my head I wanted to be like, what? You don't want a hug? So that was kind of funny. And yeah, so we were freaking out. We were like, no, we are not going to get COVID. Because right in the beginning, a person that I knew, he had a graduation party for his son, and his dad came, and his dad didn't want to come because of what was going on, and he ended up coming and he got it and he passed away. And I remember that really stuck with me, and I was like, I will not let my dad get this. And I did do everything I could. We made it for almost to the very, very end here, and then yeah, just what happened. I'll talk about it more in later videos, I'm sure. There'll be soul cleansing to talk about. But for right now, back to the boat preparations. Be taking the boat out here. So what I'm going to do is take the boom off. So I'm going to take this cover off, and then I got to take the battens out of the sail. And then there's a sail mast track, or the mast sail guy, I don't know, whatever you call it, the mast gate up there that we got from Catalina Direct that makes it so the sail slides don't pop out. Sail slides don't pop out when you raise the mast single-handed. So we're gonna get that off, and then I'm gonna head home, and my neighbor Henry, who is amazing, he is gonna help me with his truck, and we're gonna come up here with the trailer and get the boat. So I'm gonna get this all off, and if anything crazy happens while doing it, I will come back. Otherwise, I don't have a GoPro or anything like a mount to be able to hold the camera when I'm doing this. I wish I did, but I do not. I think once I get up there and I get the cover off, I'll come back and I'll show you guys what the Mast Gate is up there, because I know not everybody has them, and I've seen people in the forums and comments talk about when they raise the mainsail, it's a pain in the butt because they don't have that. So I'm gonna open up the boat and I'll be back when I'm up there by the mast. All right, so we are up on the cabin top. So now what we're gonna do is remove the battens. This is a full batten sail, coastal sail. So it was way more heavy duty than the original sail that we had on there, which is pretty cool. And then with the full battens, it was adjustable as well. So you could shape the draft of the sail. With full batten sails, it actually can kind of affect the difference. You don't just tie it in there, you actually can adjust it. And in light winds, you can make more depth of your sail, or in heavier winds, you can make your sail flatter, which is always nice to have, the ability to change all of those different things. There's a guy here in the marina named Paul. He's an awesome guy. He actually gave me the tip to switch over to the St. Croix River instead of going to the Minnesota River and then the Mississippi. So I appreciate that. But I know when I was setting up my downhaul here that goes to the boom and then my vang, he was saying, you don't need all that. But it's always nice to actually have those. A vang is a safety feature that you should always have as well. When you're tacking and switching your mainsail over, if you don't have a vang, it's very possible that the wind can hit your sail right and it ends up making your sail go real deep, and the boom will come up and then can drop down, and that's real hard on all of your gear and can end up hitting somebody. And then having a Cunningham is also real nice. It works as my reef, my first reef point, so then I can pull that down. And then no, actually it is above the reef on this new sail. On the old sail it was the same as the first reefing point, but this one, the Cunningham, is above the first reefing point, so you can still use it, I believe, after the reef, or you can use both of them kind of to adjust the sail. It's a full batten sail, so adjusting all that stuff kind of isn't, you don't get as much ability with it because of the top upper battens. It doesn't really adjust the sail as much, but it is nice to have those things. So, and on here we also have our rear reef, and then it comes down through that block on the boom, and then it comes up to here, and then there's a cleat. You could remove that cleat and put another block and then run it down to the mast step and a block down there, and then you'd have to do a deck organizer and bring it back here, which I've thought about doing, but that's for another time. Anyway, I'm gonna get these battens out and we'll be back. Alright, I thought I'd show you guys how these battens come out and then how they're adjustable. You just weave this line back and forth. There's another nautical term. Ropes on a boat are not called ropes, they are called lines. See, I'm learning. I always laugh, and there's videos online and they're like, old rich people, they didn't want to call stuff the same name on land, so they made up nautical terms. Anyway, so they're pretty easy. You just weave this line back and forth through these grommets, and then you tie it off, and then when you're out sailing you can come and adjust it maybe before you go out. It's not something you can really adjust on the fly. I've seen on the newer sails that they actually have on the end, you slide in the batten, and then there's like a little plastic thing that goes in, and you put in an Allen key and it expands. Well, goes in and expands, so it locks in at the end of the sail, and then an Allen key comes in and it adjusts the tension, so then you don't have to worry about tying anything. All you got to do is adjust the tension with a little Allen key, but it's still not something you could do, you know, on the fly. It would be something you have to do. You'd have to put the sail down, adjust it, then put it up. So I'm not positive. I wonder if on racing boats, if their battens are on like a computerized system and they can change the draft of the sail like that. I know on America Cup boats, those foiling boats, their sails aren't even really cloth or Dyneema, I believe it is. I'm learning, kind of. That could be totally wrong. They're actually like hard plastic. It's like a plane wing more. So I'm not sure how they adjust the draft and all that on those. If anybody knows, in the comments below, feel free to inform me and the other viewers. It's always fun to learn about how the newest technology in sailing is going. So I'm just blabbing here as I do this. I'm sorry if it's boring you, but I know in the YouTube sailing groups, they always say a lot of the sailing channels aren't sailing. It's a lot more girls on boats that people are trying to do to get views, and I want my channel to be the real sailing experience. This is sailing like the Eric Andrada, no bullshit, just sailing and working on boats and maintaining your boat for the next 6 months here while we do the Great Loop. Raw, real experience. I'm a dork. Anyway, and kind of lets me keep a video diary of this experience while going through it. So that's kind of cool. I wish my dad could be. Really miss him. And I think he would have really thought this was cool. We always talked about, wouldn't it be so cool to just get on a boat and sail away? And I'm gonna do that now for a little bit. Oh, there, I dropped it. So it's really cool. I used to be into motorcycles, and then I was homesteading and taking care of my dad. And now I'm into sailing, and it's really cool, and I'm really glad my dad gave me the love of sailing, that gift, and the gift of just this whole experience me and him had. A lot of people don't get to do that when their parent is passing away, and I got to, because he was a disabled veteran, be right there and take care of him the best I could. And it was definitely a battle at the end working with the VA. Yeah, it was crazy. We were supposed to get a ramp, so when I brought him home from the hospital, he'd be able to get in better, and then they delayed it, and ended up having to bring him home and give him like a piggyback ride in the house. It was crazy. The sad part is the only time he did use that ramp was after he passed away, and that was to bring out his body, which was another crazy experience. Because it was New Year's Day, and on a Saturday, and we live out in the middle of nowhere, we called up the Minnesota or National Cremation Society, and they're like, there's nobody around. It might not be till Monday till we can pick up your father's body. And we're like, what? We're gonna weekend at Bernie's this or what? And then at about 4 a.m, they called and they're like, we found somebody, they can come out and pick up your father. And I'm glad we did have that extra time with him after he passed away. A lot of people don't get to experience that and aren't as, right there with death. And we ended up using some paint, and we made handprints and footprints after he passed away. So that was cool, and I'm really glad I got that. And it was kind of funny, because in my head when we were doing it, I was just picturing him going, "What the heck are you doing?" He liked to swear a lot, but we can't swear on YouTube. So it would have been a little more graphic. But I'm sure he would have been like, "What the heck are you doing to my hands, you crazy person?" And then when the hospice person popped up to, declare that he had passed away and that, I think they kind of thought it was a little odd as well. They're like, "Why has he got blue hands?" They're like, "We were making finger paint or handprints." She was just kind of like, "Oh, okay." Anyway, and then the mortician guy showed up, and he came in a minivan. It was crazy. It was not a hearse, and it was a little guy that's like 5 feet tall. So he got there, and then he went, "Hey, I need your help to carry out your father's body." So I had to, I don't know if anybody out there has ever taken care of anybody. When you take care of somebody, there's these things called chucks you put under them, and then when you use diapers, and when you switch somebody over to change them, what you have to do is you roll them up on one side, and then you put it underneath them, or you roll it up, and then you roll them over back the other way, but you come farther, so it ends up going underneath them, and you can get it out. Well, luckily I had a system down with that where I'd like use my head and stuff, because I was taking care of my dad by myself there. When the mortician guy came, we had to put like a black body bag thing underneath him. Sorry to laugh. It's when I'm nervous and thinking back about sad things, I tend to laugh or smile. My mom actually, when she was younger, went to a funeral and started laughing by accident when she was really nervous. So I'm not trying to be like not callous or laugh about the situation, but it was pretty insane. And so we had to go do that, put my father in the body bag, zip it up. And so it was like the whole experience from taking care of my dad to like the end. I experienced it. And then we had to carry him out through the house, and then we didn't want to go down the stairs because there was a gurney that you had to get to, so we had to go down the ramp. And I just looked back and I was kind of really let down by the VA on that one. They didn't get him a ramp in time when they were supposed to, and there was a bunch of other stuff too, but we won't get into that. It was a crazy experience, but I'm glad I got to go through it, and I was there with my dad. One of the last things he said to me a few days before he passed was, "You're a good son. You've done everything you can for me. We had a good run. It's your turn now to live your life. Go live your life." And that's what he said, and it was really sad at the time. I'm like, "Dad, don't say that. You're going to be okay." You know, because you don't want to tell somebody they're passing away and all that and make them sad. And it was, even to the end, he thought he was making it, and he was happy and he wanted to live, so that was good. He never was sad or depressed or whatnot. But anyway, I'm just really glad I got to have that experience with him and do it and have those memories with him. And he gave me the gift of those memories and the gift of just all the lessons he taught me in life. I never did know why he liked sailing. He was a Army veteran, was in the first cav in Vietnam, but he always had Sailor P as his email address and stuff, and at some point in his life he developed the love of sailing. When I was a kid, we went sailing a few times. We had a little 19-foot Luger. I think I was like 10, on Lake Minnetonka for a year or two. And at the time, my mom hated it because it cost a lot of money. And we needed like a dishwasher and stuff. Apparently, now that I've talked to her that I'm older, and he was like, "No, I want a boat." And it was kind of interesting because I look back on that when he was passing there, and there was a lot of stuff we had to do at the homestead, but instead it was boat no matter what. And I'm glad I did that. In life, there's some things, you know, you don't get to experience, and if you don't do it when you have the opportunity, you don't get to do it. So it's good to take those opportunities and seize the moment. Fortune favors the bold. But you know, it's just good to, you know, if you have a little bit of money, instead of going out to eat at a restaurant or something, make food at home. It's way better and healthier for you anyway, and spend that money on a hobby that's fun or something, and experiences, not going out to eat where somebody else made your food, or alcohol, or any of those other things. You know, experiences are way better. So back to the boat. I'm rambling and going off on a side tangent. Sorry, I was just kind of thinking about my pops and everything, and this trip, and what he gave me to be able to do this. So I appreciate it, and in spirit, he is going to be with me, and is the spirit of this boat. So, all right, we got all the battens out of the sail. Next, we're going to head up here. It just rained a little, so I got to be careful, and I don't have all the hands I want when I'm trying to hold my phone to do the camera. So here's the mast gate. So all we have to do is remove these 2 screws. Everything I ever screw in on this boat, from riding motorcycles, I've learned red Loctite or blue Loctite, and I've been using that on the boat as well, and I think that's going to come in handy here when we go on this 6,000 mile trip. So I'm going to get these removed, and then I'm going to get the sail off, and I want to be real careful with it, so I'm not going to just try to one-handed do that. And then I'm going to get that folded up and down in the cabin, and I'll be back. Alright, so I'm hoping this storm doesn't come when we have to try to put the boat on the trailer. So we have to remove the topping loft here, then we have to loosen up our main sheet. One thing I'd like to do for this main sheet is get a new fiddle block here, and then have a fiddle block up here, because if you see, when you pull this, the first one it goes to is up there, so it actually pulls on the gooseneck first instead of pulling down, which then kind of makes the sail go up more, and then you have to use the vang more. I have noticed that, so that's one thing that I would like to upgrade on the rigging. I'm going to get some low lead heavy duty blocks for the Genoa cars. They'll go up to 3,000 pounds. These old ones were rated at like 1,200 pounds. So that should be a good upgrade. So next, to get the boom off, we just have to unhook the downhaul there, do the vang, and unhook this, and topping loft. We'll go up here to the mast, and I'll show you how I got everything ran. This is where we have our boom vang that we added. And then when we redid the mast step, we got the upgraded mast step that has the, I don't know what you call these, if it's a bail or whatnot. Comments below, please let me know what you call these on a mast step. There's one in the back for the vang, and in the front there's one that's supposed to be if you have a spinnaker. And then on the sides they have these holes so you can put blocks to them, so you can do your reefs, your to raise the sail, your main halyard, vang. I'm trying to think of what else you would have. Cunningham, second reef if you had one. Topping loft if you had an adjustable topping loft. We just have ours tied to the top up there, and then I figured out a proper length that it's up high enough. So it might be actually kind of cool to have an adjustable one though. Anyway, so I'm gonna get those all unhooked. It's pretty easy. All you gotta do is remove this little screw here, clevis pin I believe they're called. One thing I was thinking that I would like to do is when we get out down on the Gulf is I'm going to do some baling wire or some seizing wire around some of these, just in case so they don't come loose. And then we'll be using Loctite as well. So I cannot do this one-handed. I have just now learned, and I don't want to drop any of these pieces. So I'll be back. All right, so we have the boom all removed. Makes the boat look naked without it. So I am now gonna run home and meet my neighbor Henry, and we'll come back up with the trailer. So I'll have to talk to Henry and check the weather here, and if it's gonna be stormy or too windy, we might wait till a little bit later this afternoon or another day. Hopefully not. Looks nice here, and over there it's nice, kind of. So that wasn't too bad. It's pretty easy getting the boom off. It's just a lot of ropes and stuff. You got to remember what goes where, but once you've done it once or twice, it's pretty easy. So to get the mast down, we have an A-frame that we set up. So I do a rope that I tie to the front loop on the mast where the whisker pole connects, and then tie it up to a cleat just to be safe. Then we remove the front two lower shrouds and we put the A-frame there, and there's two bolts that go through it. And then we connect the front furler to the A-frame, and then we have two fiddle blocks and a rope that connects to the A-frame on the bottom, and then you can run it back to the winch back here for when you raise and step the mast. And when you bring it down, you can just hold that rope while you're up there with the mast yourself, and you bring it back, and then you drop it right down onto that roller. And because it's a roller, it's real nice. It allows you to, you know, roll it forward, and then you can bring it up right up to where the pulpit is. But you got to get the A-frame disconnected first. One thing I did learn 2 years ago when we put it up, after getting everything fixed up, we brought the boat up here and we had it in here for like 2 weeks in October. And what I learned was when you don't take the A-frame off and you're not real careful, you can bend the turnbuckle for the front forestay. We had replaced all the other forestays. I mean, shrouds, not forestay. Forestay's up there, the rest are shrouds, backstay. Anyway, so we did all the shrouds and the backstay, but we didn't do the front one. Before they had closed turnbuckles. Now they have the open ones, so they don't have as much corrosion or whatever it says. And we didn't do that front one, and I'm glad, because then we learned that if you're not careful with that A-frame and you run the mast forward, it will bend the turnbuckle. So I got to learn that lesson, and we were going to replace the front forestay anyway the next year, so it kind of all worked out. Before I go home here, I'm going to put the mast gate back in, just because it's a good idea to always put stuff back in and keep it where it goes, and then you don't forget and have spare parts all over the place and lose them. Something I learned when I work on motorcycles and I tore down my engine for my Yamaha Roadliner. I rebuilt the whole engine in it. Went from 1900cc to 2100cc, and I got it up to 120 horsepower and 150 torque. It was pretty cool. But what I learned when you tear apart a whole motorcycle is it's really good to put the screws in the parts and then set them aside, or always keep screws and parts together. Otherwise, when you put stuff back together, you'll go, where is everything? And what goes where? So I'm gonna get this screwed in, then I'm gonna get on in the car and head home, and I'll come back once we get back with the truck. Or I might give you a little bit of the rundown of the trailer at home before we head out. I'm not sure yet. We'll see what happens. with the miracle of editing and if I forget or not. So, you'll either see me back on the boat here or at home with the trailer. Alright, so we're back home. I thought I'd show you the trailer action. So this is our trailer. We have nice new tires. The rollers are good. I did have to get a new bow stop for the trailer, so we're good there. Yeah, so the trailer should be good to go. We're starting to collect all of our stuff here. As you can see, it's all coming together. And then up here, the two covers for the, I don't know what you would call it, bilge or whatever, on the side next to the dinette. Those two covers I hadn't finished, so I thought I'd do it. This is kind of cool, I thought. From the sun, I left some wrenches there the first year when we had the boat back here. And it left an imprint of the tools there. That'll be now forever entombed. But it's really cool when you do this epoxy. It looks like glass. And then this is the one that was down by the toilet. And to restore where the wood is rotten, you use penetrating epoxy. And then you kind of make a dam like this. And then you fill it in. And then you end up pouring the normal epoxy, and then you try to get it all level. We'll have to do one more little pour. You can tell it soaked it in. And then this will actually be the top part that you'll see by the toilet. So I don't know if in the other video you saw it was just kind of tan and looked dirty. Now it looks pretty good. We only went to 150 grit too. Imagine if we actually went to like 600 grit or something. It would have been amazing. And then these are those front trim pieces that I was showing you. One thing that I've noticed though, this is with just the epoxy. When you do the final varnish layer, which is to get rid of or to UV protect it, it's never as clear. In the comments below, if any of you guys know a really good clear, like crystal clear UV protection to put on top of the epoxy, definitely let me know. So here's the A-frame. We're gonna get that, and what you do is it connects to the front mounts for the lower front lower shrouds, and then up here you connect one end to the roller furler. And then we have this setup, and you connect that down to what would you call it, a U-bolt that we have on the bow of the boat, and then you connect this to the A-frame, and then you're able to have enough rope, and you just putting it down is real easy. You just slowly let it go, and then pulling it up isn't too bad. But when you use the, like by the rope by itself, but when you use the winch, piece of cake, it just goes right up. So it's a really nice little setup. So now all I got to do is wait for Henry to get here, and then we'll hook up the trailer to his truck and we'll head out, and I'll come back once we are at the boat. Alright, we have the trailer all picked up and connected to the truck. Now we're going to head up to Terry's and get the boat from the marina. So, here we are, headed out to go get the boat. So far so good. The wheels look like they're working good on the trailer. I greased the wheel bearings as well as made sure there was air in all the tires. So we should be good. This is one of the most nerve-wracking parts, I think, of having a boat. It's when you have to on the trailer coming back and forth from the lake. So many things that can happen, and it would suck to have the boat fall off the trailer. It's like left one does not. I know the trailer light works, like if he had his truck light on, it would pop up, but brake light wise, it looks like only that one works. So, definitely good to know before we head down to the St. Croix in a week. Let's check that light bulb in the left side of the trailer. So, I am going to pay attention to driving here, and I'll come back once we get up to Terry's. Alright everybody, we made it to Terry's. So far the trailer is making it, no problems. I didn't think there would be. If you guys ever want to put your boat in on Lake Mille Lacs, I highly recommend Terry's Boat Harbor. It's an amazing marina here on Lake Mille Lacs, and him and his wife Vicky are amazing people. They have a dog named Alex that always comes out. It's always nice to see you in the morning when you're out on your boat and stuff. So, I'm going to go head over to the boat, and I'll be back. Alright, that went actually really easy. The lake was up a lot farther than last year, so we were able to float right up on the trailer, no problem. The year before, last year, the lake was really low, and it was hard to get the trailer in far enough with the water level that it would go up on the trailer. We kind of had to give it some gas and slide up on it. So next I'm going to pull my car over. We'll get the A-frame out, we'll hook it up here, and we'll hook it to that, and then we layer back down and head home. Alright, we have the A-frame all hooked up. All we have to do is hook it up to an eye-bolt that's up there, and then we have two fiddle blocks connected to an A-frame, and then we connect the roller furler to the A-frame, and then all we have to do is loosen up the upper shrouds, and then it goes right back to the roller there. So it should go nice and easy. Alright, so we got the mast down. It is on the roller. So next all we have to do is disconnect the furler up here. You have to be really careful for that turnbuckle. Once you get that done, you unhook the mast there, and then you move it up to the pulpit, bungee everything down, and you're good to go. So I'm going to get it all bungeed up, and I'll come back once I'm down off the boat. Alright, we have everything bungeed down. Now it's time to head home. I'm going to get down, and then I'll show you guys a side shot of what everything looks like. Alright, we have it all trailered up and ready to head home. Alright, here we go. So far, so good. This part's a little bit of a pain getting onto the highway. We tried to come on a Thursday so there wouldn't be any traffic, but we didn't know that Major League Fishing today at 4:30 was going to be the time when they announced the winner. So we actually have a little more traffic than we were hoping for, but it shouldn't be too bad. And we'll have the old girl home soon. We'll get a little bit of work done on her, and then we will be heading out on the Great Loop. So I'm going to pause the video and I'll get back once we get back to the house. Alright everybody, she's back home in her stable. I'm used to that from my motorcycle. We did actually have some baby chickies as well. We have 10 baby chicks. We also actually, my guinea had a gickin, which is pretty rare. A chicken and guinea hybrid. I'm pretty excited about that. So now the real work starts, getting everything prepared and in the boat. So this was a pretty good day. This video is getting pretty long, so we'll be cutting it, and we will call this preparations day number 4 for the Great Loop. Everything seems to be coming along real nice, and I am excited. If you guys have any questions about any of the process or anything you've seen in the video today, let me know in the comments below. hit that like button and subscribe. It helps us out. I'll see you guys later.